I was really triggered by what you said because you are an activist, you're coming on the streets, and then it's just knocked down. With or without cameras, because we are just restricted to what Western vision is allowed to see.
Yes.
So we only have a colored side already. I have also Russian friends who are not able to visit their friends or family because they are activists. So we are having the luxury in Europe, and we fought for it, because your question is like, how can we somehow look to the other side, what's going around? But we, for example, I'm gay, first gay marriage in Greece, like a huge country in Europe, is only since this year.
I know.
So you need a mentality change. For this you need education. You need to give history, to learn from the history. We are easily forgetting. History repeats. But what I'm saying is, we are just lucky that we are born here, that we are complaining about, oh damn, they are taking out my bus connection to a city. But we were just lucky that we were born here, and we don't valorize anymore what we have. And there is the thing about the army, do we need to defend ourselves? But if we don't defend ourselves, or just at least say, okay, here it stops, this is what we fought for, and
the red lines. Yep.
Yes, we have red lines. Every time, step by step, I'm betting that Xi is looking what I'm going to do with Taiwan. And I think as a united nation, and I'm not talking about Europe, as a united nation, you need to say what are the values that we are willing to fight for.
Defend, yeah.
And we can do it with diplomatics, but you cannot read in the mind of somebody, not even now at this moment, of people in Europe. So, for example, you could not read the mind of Angela Merkel, you could not read the mind of, in this case, Putin. And I don't want to know what they are thinking.
Let's be pragmatic,
yeah. But what I'm saying is, if people are really, and this is one of the basics, human rights, right to speak, and if we cannot say, look, there is somewhere there is a black, white, sorry, or gray, but these are my values where I believe in, freedom of your own body, freedom of speech, and not agreeing with something. If we cannot stand behind that, if you're Ukrainian or from Russia, I think this is the key. It's not about the war. I think it's about...
It's also a cultural war, indeed.
I think it's really about what people want, what our future children and whoever, young generation want. I don't care if I have a Belgian passport or it would be Dutch, because I'm in Europe. I can travel the borders without any issue and they will treat me the same. Okay, we make jokes about the Dutch people, but if we look to Flanders and we maybe want to split it up from the Walloon, yeah, then it's I live in Antwerp and you're from West Flanders. Where do we gonna stop?
We're gonna stop with the next question. So let's start with the last question.
That wasn't a question, actually.
That was more comments.
Yeah, hi everyone. First I want to start with short comments. One more.
Just hold it higher.
Okay. Yes.
Like this?
No, just
Or without the microphone and speak louder.
Okay.
Just a mouth.
Yeah. Okay. So, first the comments about that the NATO and Russia when autocrat regime directly treat you that you should push back your borders on 1997, on the year of 1997, it's mean like NATO should to leave the Poland, Baltic country, Romania, and all another who participate there. It's mean that this is real treat for the all alliance, and not you shouldn't don't estimate your opponent. But I have the question to Mariia. I want to hear your position about how we can to bring sustainable peace in Europe in this situation, and which action the Europeans should do from their side. Thank you.
Yes, that really recalls the last comment which I would put if you didn't ask that question. Ironically, I do truly believe, and a lot of Russians who are opposed to Putin's regime, we truly believe that actually the defenders of future of Russia now our Ukrainian army. And that's also why we ask to support Ukrainian army hugely, because we don't see any escape of this situation. We have a dictator, or, well, someone is saying that according to politics, I think it's authorized system, not yet totalitarist, but it's really close one to another, so which one we choose, it's up to you. But what we have now is a guy with his FSB circle of very scary guys who are killing people inside Russia. We call them the Towers of Power. They have their own names, something like the Lord of the Rings, apparently. Then he has his private army, which is Russian guards. And if anyone opposes his decisions, his solutions, goes to the streets, these Russian guards are coming, which are up to 5 million, and we even don't know how many they are. Very well-paid police, special police department, who are basically forbidding any protests on the streets, which are actually forbidden. So if you go to the street, it's already illegal because he decided that you cannot go to the street, but we are very screwed in that situation. We cannot protest. We also cannot say what we think. We cannot say that we support Russian army. We even cannot say a simple, like you said, I'm anti-war. In Russia, it's forbidden to say such a coincidence. You even cannot say, I'm anti-war, like, I'm for peace. That's already forbidden. Even not for anti-war, I'm for peace. Hello, 15 days in a prison. Welcome to our world. And indeed, answering that question, I don't find even an answer, because the only thing I understand that, of course, the end of this regime and of this situation should come from the inside of Russia. You cannot do it from outside. But to start this conversation, Putin has to lose the war with Ukraine. And without this condition, people of Russia will never understand that something was wrong, because he is using his propaganda to brainwash them. And the only way to explain, which I see personally, is to bring the troops back. And then he has to answer to his own people why so many people died in there with no result. Why they came back half peace, even they came. And he has to answer to his own nation. Why did we do that? Why do we live wars? Why we lost our sons, our children? Who are those strange Ukrainian guys? About 2,020,000 of children, which were stolen indeed. We have volunteers now in Russia. Like, imagine that someone was separating your child from you and bringing to another country, and now you have volunteers who are trying to keep their documents so we can find them back when the war is over. So many things are happening, and I don't see the end to it, to be honest. But the only end I can wish for is the end of this war on Ukrainian territory. That will give Russia a window to face our internal problems. Without that, we will always have this distraction that something is happening somewhere else. So here it's fine. No, it's not. That's the problem. And that's why we need to end it. That's the first step. Without end of the war in Ukraine, the same in Georgia, I would say. We don't have any internal chance to face our internal problems, because we are always looking outside.
To highlight what Mariia just said, for Russia to lose the war and for Ukraine to win the war, Ukraine needs more support from Europe, from the West, and for that Europe should become stronger itself. Why there is not enough weapons in Ukraine? Because there is not enough weapons in the West, although you may believe differently, but the system, the air defense system, the weapons system that was exhausted in Ukraine, and Ukrainians are very desperately waiting for a new air defense system. If it doesn't arrive in mid-May, the Kharkiv will be down. All other cities around will be down, and it's because the European countries do not feel like giving the last of what they have to Ukraine. So the defense should be strengthened, European defense, in order to first of all help Ukraine, but also help yourself in future. I want to also underline one thing that it was not said here, but maybe some under the lines, about the provocation about NATO. Putin uses this propaganda point, always saying that NATO provoked us, and NATO is dangerous, NATO is coming. Since 2000, year 2000, I had a friend in Russia who studied in the US and in 2000, and she was taught by the professors there who had Russian roots that NATO has an aim to attack Russia one day because of the resources. So she learned this since 2000. Okay, she had this idea that NATO has an idea to attack Russia, and this is what Russians live with. Maybe you will also confirm that live this for a long time, thinking that NATO is preparing to attack. Now, a question to you: 2 years of full-scale invasion, we are into very huge war. Where is NATO?
May I ask you a question which will be also an answer? Do you think that Putin will use the same war profile which he's using now in Ukraine when he should come over to the European Union?
Yeah,
I mean, with tanks, infantry, the classical approach of a war. Do you think that Putin is interested in putting a soldier on the Weststraat and keep an eye on the traffic?
No, it's not about the Weststraat. It's about Poland and Baltic states. It's it's again, today's warfare indeed is not classic warfare. He is already having war on you by cyber attacks, by information attacks, by faking information, but also by killing people on your territory when intelligence services are not aware, by having chemical attacks, by having the attacks on the GPS system. He is already having war on you, and that can have consequences for the critical infrastructure when the cyber attack on critical infrastructure brings chaos in your life. When the GPS attacks bring chaos and the planes or ships get lost and start falling down, and the people lose their life. He doesn't need classic weapons for that. He can kill people without sending drones. The war in Ukraine is a war of drones and values. And here it is the same war, but in a bit different way. It's also the war of values, but by not classical, by hybrid means. Yet, by allowing Putin to attack further Ukraine and by not strengthening your European Union and not showing teeth, you are empowering him for further attacks. We did not believe, the whole world didn't believe that he would attack Ukraine. We don't believe he would attack further Europe. How long are we going to stay naive and believe the same things that we believed 2 years ago, but we were shocked? We will be shocking ourselves, still our children will have to suffer from the attack. So we should start defending ourselves, and we should give the more credit to people who are shouting alarm that it can happen, and we have to prepare.